training series. In this first short little video, we're going to talk about how to add a student to the Odysseyware database. I'm going to log in here. Now, to add students to the Odysseyware database, you do have to be a super teacher and have the proper rights to be able to add the teacher or add the student to the database. So if you find that you can't do this, you'll need to contact your Odysseyware administrator to get the appropriate rights. Now, to add a student to the database, what I'm going to do is click on the Student tab. And you'll see that you have access to the entire database of Odysseyware students. In this case, there are 864 students in this particular database. So that's a lot of students. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my student isn't already in the database. My student's name today is going to be Mary Demo. And Mary's student number is going to be 117117. So to search and see if the student is in the database, first thing I'm going to do is come up to Student ID right here, and I'm going to add in there 117117. And what that will do is it'll dynamically search and locate the student for me if the student is in the database. In this case, Mary Demo is not in the database, so I know I can go ahead and add her. So what I'm going to do is click on the button here for Create Student. And I'm just going to walk you right down step by step through each of the fields that we're going to be adding for this particular student. Now the very first one here says Login Enabled, and you want to make sure that remains checked. Under User Status, it should say Active. Now we're going to put Mary's first name in there, Mary, last name Demo. And the username in CNUSD, we are always going to use the student's ID number for username. So 117117. Password, we're going to set again as a student ID number, 117117. We repeat the password just to make sure we have it right. Now the next one here is called the default term. And you can see that you should be able to select several of the different terms that are available. When you create a student, however, you don't want to select the term at the time you create the student. That's something more appropriately done at the time of enrollment. So we're going to click on Choose at Enrollment. And that will let us go ahead and choose the term for the student when we add them to the class. That's the next video. You'll see there are a variety of options here. Personalized thresholds, CRX pass thresholds. All of these are set by the district at a default value. You cannot change those. And you'll notice that this is disabled. Block test progress, personalized weights, all of these are disabled. Hidden down here, however, amongst all of these disabled pieces, you come to the student ID and the campus ID. For student ID, we're going to use 117117 again. That's the student's ID. For the campus ID, this will be the campus ID used at your school site. You'll need to ask your Odysseyware administrator what the campus ID is for your school site. Or if you're a counselor, you should have received that as part of your counselor documentation for Odysseyware. For today, I'm just going to use the campus ID of Demo. As I scroll down here, a whole bunch of additional disabled things. Then I come to Change Passwords. We are going to deselect the option for Change Passwords. We don't want to allow students to change their passwords. You, having the rights to go in and create a student, also have the ability to edit the student, and you can change the password for them. Counselors can change passwords, administrators can change passwords, but what we've learned is if we allow the students to change the password, they'll change it and simply use it as an excuse not to access their work. So we disallow them from changing their password. Randomized questions, we definitely want this check marked. This randomizes the questions for students in quizzes, lessons, and tests, so their neighbor, if they happen to be working on the same lesson, does not have the same questions. If they take the test a second time or work through the lesson a second time, they'll also receive a different set of questions. As we move down to the bottom, you'll see Display Planner, Allow Message Send, and Allow Message Receive. Those are all checked by default, and we will leave them checked. When I'm all done, I hit Save, and now my student is in the database. And just to make sure, I'm going to pop up here to Student ID, and I'm going to type in 117, 117, and right away I don't even have to finish typing the student ID. There is the student information. If I need to edit the student, I click the Edit button right next to the student once I've located them. And I can pop in here and I can change first name or last name. I cannot change the username. Once that's created, it is there for good and forever. Password, I can change the password by tapping on the Change button here. And all the rest of the information down here that we pointed out earlier remains editable. It is just the username that can't change. So if I've made any changes, I'll hit Save, and we're good to go. Alright, the next video in the series that you'll want to watch will be registering a student for a class. Thank you for watching Adding a Student to the Odysseyware database, and enjoy using Odysseyware.